Dave, thanks for being here. The first question I have is how did you first find out about Baxter?
Well, November 1st, when Harris County pets changed their policy to from 30 days to 15 days of keeping the animals before they're euthanized, and then uh, adding on an additional euthanization day where they're euthanizing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I decided I've seen other creators really getting busy and showing their animals. So I said, I'm going to do the same. I can do my little bit from my end of the world. So I'm sure it's at work. And I was searching on site, and the first dog that came up was a uh, really emaciated looking German wire pointer named Baxter. He was 0 days in. So I said, I got 15 days. I can do this. So I started posting, blasting, asking people if they knew anybody. I know rescues are super swamped, and just calling. And it's been the whole 15 days. Well, during that 15 days, I started really falling in love with this animal. And when I saw the video that you're going to show, the people will see why. Um, the dog he's laying there in such a poor condition and still managing to wag his tail for mercy. And I said, I can help this animal. I can give him a better life. So I'm from out of state of Oklahoma, and he's in Houston, Texas. So I started calling and calling and calling, and I couldn't get anybody to really want to help me. Very consistently rude people on the phone. There's menus you can click and it goes right back to them. They won't switch you to anybody. They said, sir, you just need to come down here and be in front of us, and you can do it that way. Well, all along that wouldn't have worked, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So it got down to the 12th or 13th day, and Shannon knew what I was trying to do. Shannon with animal advocates of North Texas, and I met her through Justice with Gunner, and she's a force to be reckoned with,
Mhm.
and she knows everybody. So she started trying to contact people. Um, Dog Army Rescue reached out to me. I was talking to them, and they're a group that's just kind of all over the United States, not really right there. But so I had to get somebody to put a hold on him. They wouldn't take any money over the phone. They just made it impossible.
Why do you
You
think
know,
that is, Dave? Why do you think they're, as you said,
because
they're making it impossible?
because they know that their fallback is just euthanizing, and I don't see them networking any unless you just search for their website and pull them up. So they have all these people like me willing to give our time and everything, and there's no respect or help with that. Uh,
Do you
so
think
there's a
then that do you think then that because of the way they are from your point of view, that they're doing more to hurt the animals than to
Yeah,
help?
absolutely. They're not animal lovers. They do not understand animal lovers, and they guess what? That's their clientele. So anyway, I think they don't care. They have that to fall back on. It's a 9 to 5 job, and it's an hourly job, and so it doesn't matter if they're in or out.
But to
Um,
play devil's advocate for a minute, just devil's advocate, right? They do
right?
have a large number of animals playing a
They
devil's
do. They do, and that's why I jumped in there. That's why I jumped in there, and so many more are too. So it came down to probably 3 days before the 15th day. That was going to be Friday the 13th. Now he came in uh, to give him a little background. He came in on the 26th. They
advocate.
did the X-ray. I have the X-ray. All three corners show uh, his number A489337. It show Harris County Press, and it shows the date, the 26th. They knew this dog had a broken leg. He was in medical. I did know that, and he wasn't being shown because I said, how are everybody passing this dog up? And they said, well, he's not being shown, he's in medical. So anyway, um, he was adopted in 2017 by the current uh, owner. And so he was found skin and bones, horrible dermatitis, a lot of hair loss, and an injury to a leg. And so
Where was he found, Dave?
he was found straying looking for food. So they gave the owner says, I don't want him back. They opened up an animal cruelty case, and then if he surrendered the animal, then he's off scot free. And in fact, I searched that if that was the Texas deal, and they can. If they surrender their animal, then that's animal cruelty complaint is dropped. So anyway, um, it got down to the point, and on the fort, let's see, the 12th, which is Thursday the 12th, Friday the 13th would have been his 15 day. He would have surely been on that euthanasian list. So on the 12th, around 4 o'clock, it all fell together. I found a wonderful rescue jumped in there to put a hold on him, started work on that feverishly. They closed at 5:30, and there's nothing you can do after that time. And they start euthanizing early in the morning. So I got a hold on him, and another lady that's not affiliated with my rescue, she was trying to find out why he was still in medical. They weren't telling anybody, but all of a sudden she pops up and she goes, "Check this out." Sends me an X-ray, says he has a broken leg, and then I tell my rescue and Shannon's, we're all trying to save him, and he says, "Do you still want him?" I said, "Well, of course I still want him."
Who
I
asked you
said,
that, Dave? Who asked you?
who my on the my rescue.
Oh, okay. And this was now,
Yeah,
we're just to keep us chronologically. We're on Thursday, the 12th, and is it before closing?
yeah, just before closing. It closed at 5:30, and it was around 4 o'clock.
Okay.
This all came about, and uh, so Shannon. So anyway, that's why I had to have a rescue. They would only release him to a rescue because he has a broken leg, and they want to make sure that that's fixed. I'm sure. So anyway, I'm from out of state. I couldn't pay him anything over the phone. I begged and pleaded, let me pay for the stuff, whatever, because I was afraid that there would be a screw up because they're the most confused mess I've ever seen down there. And so anyway, the rescue let me know that this, because they have so many animals, they cannot pay for that. I said, I'm going to start working on the money. I can get it out of 401. We had some ideas. Me and Shannon were talking. We had some ideas,
Hmm.
had a benefactor that would have jumped in, I'm sure. So by the next morning, I made a video and I said, he's safe, because I had so many people worried about this animal. And I was celebratory, and I said, he's safe. I said, he's going to have a leg removed. The vet is saying he needs the leg removed because it's been broken for quite a while. So anyway, I said, and I'm working on the details of the operation, and all that. Well, my rescue got very mad, so take that down. It's making it look like we're not going to pay for it. Harris County has offered to pay for it. So I asked Shannon, "What do you think on that?" I don't like shelters um, doing operations, and so it's a very common operation at Harris County. And so we felt safe with doing that because I knew the aftercare was going to be as much as the before care due to his skin condition, his emaciated condition. Who knows what else was going on with this poor animal.
Yeah.
So we dealt with my work constraints. I couldn't get down there that week. That was one of the problems. But even if I drove all the way down there, the people on phone said he was ready to go. You just got to get down here and be in front of us. I couldn't have took him anyway. I would have drove all that way to Houston, and I would have been able to take him because I didn't have a foster. I mean, a rescue. So anyway, long story short, through the weekend, my rescue was having a huge event, and so I didn't get to really touch base with them. And Monday, I was on pins and needles because that's was the day of the surgery, and I was picking him up on Tuesday, the 17th, and at 1 o'clock. And so Monday, I called down there to the shelter, and nobody, the people didn't want to answer any questions on him. And so finally, I just kept calling back until I got a different lady, and then she said, and I said, listen, please don't tell me that you can't tell me anything. Just let me know that he had his surgery. I'm driving like 7 hours plus one way, and I need to know if he had a surgery because at that time I heard that he was maybe even going to have it on Tuesday before I pick him up. So by my rescue, so they didn't know what was going on uh, because of the confusion down there. So anyway, a lady did type in and she goes, I can tell you this, they act like everything's so top secret about a dog that I am adopting. But they said the surgery, the leg is off. He's doing well. And 1 o'clock tomorrow, just make sure your rescue notifies them that you're going to take the dog. So
So that was
I
what date?
have
What was, I'm sorry, what was that date, Dave? Was that Monday, the Harris County?
that was Monday the 16th. Yes.
That's the day they
Like
performed surgery on him?
Monday of this week. So I felt relieved, and because I vested a lot of heart into this dog already. So anyway, long story short, I had my I still got everything back there. I went and bought dog beds, pillows, blankets, everything for a comfortable trip back. Um, I did everything that a bowl, everything, collars, bowls, everything I needed. And so anyway, that night, I was told that he was fine. And I think I even called back at 4. I've got the timelines of the calls and everything was, and I said, can I talk to the veterinary staff, see how he's doing?
Mhm.
Is he doing okay? No, you cannot speak with him. No, 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 no. And so they said, they looked it up and they said, looks like he's, going to be able to be picked up. So he should be fine. So anyway, I tell Shannon, I tell the group and all that. And so I get home and I turn on TikTok and I'll tell who it is because they don't mind. Rescue Dog Army had a deal on there that said Baxter had a foster or a adopter from TikTok. Baxter had a hold, and now Baxter's been euthanized. I tell you, I don't know what the adjective would be, but destroyed, devastated, and so I called Shannon, and she goes, "Who told you this?" Now, the when I talked to my rescue, they had not called them, and so while I'm driving, and I'll tell you this too. Um, she said, "Let's not believe it. You got to be there by 1." So I said, "I need to leave like 5 that morning." So Shannon said, "You can either be back and wait, or you can start heading down there." She goes, "But I don't really believe it." So I thought it was. She goes, "There's clerical errors all the time." I called a lady that I know from it, and she said, "David, I really think I've been crying in this grocery store. I mean, they devastated a lot of people. That dog had so many people behind him, and so sorry, but
Sorry.
anyway, um, I didn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it, and so I headed out. Had all this stuff already loaded anyway. I headed out, and at 6 a.m. and they were my rescue had a good relationship with some of the people that worked in there. They texted all night, didn't hear a word. 6 a.m. finally somebody responded and said, yes, he was euthanized. And I tell you, I had to pull over and just kind of so I wanted to make sure that was correct. And I started calling down there to make sure. And I just started heading to Houston. anyway, and I said to him, I said, if I can't have that dog that I've been working so hard and fell in love with, and animal lovers can fall in love with something like this. They don't understand. And they were so rude. They wouldn't switch me to anybody. And I said, give me to the director. I want to talk to the director. Give me to who's under the director. They wouldn't give me Corey Steele's name. He's the director. I said, it's public knowledge. I can look that up. And so I started just asking for Corey Steele and hanging out, calling right back. I want Corey Steele. Was in a meeting, was in a meeting my whole trip to Houston, just about, supposedly. And finally, 141, I'm still en route, and he calls, and I didn't really catch his name, but I'm 100% it was him because I heard his voice on YouTube. But he very defensive, very rude, and he says, "I hear that you're on your way to Houston to pick up a deceased animal that, oh, I don't know, he passed away in a surgery or had some kind of difficulties." And he goes, "Well, that's not going to happen, so you might as well turn around." And I said, "Excuse me, why? Why can't I have this dog? I mean, why can't I bury this dog? I mean, I want his ashes. I want to, was my goal was to let him lay his head down in Oklahoma anyway." So, okay, give me a second. Sorry, I wasn't going to do this,
You had a
but
you had a plan for Baxter. You had a life waiting for Baxter.
I have a peaceful place out in the country, and I wanted him to know he was loved and hang and rest. So, and I pleaded to his human side, and there was this cold, um, I am not going to break the rules for you. And I even pulled a senior card. I said, "Sir, I'm a senior citizen." I said, "It means a lot to me. I've lost a lot in my life, and I really wanted the best for this dog. I've been networking him for you. I played every card I could." And I'm not bending the rules. He goes, "If I bent the rules for you, I would have to bend it for everybody that loses a pet here." And it caught me. I said, "How many pets do you lose there, sir, from surgeries?" And he got real defensive then, and pretty much the conversation was over. And like I said the other night in our deal, if he would have just been halfway decent and said, "Listen, I have 500 dogs here. I want you to come down. I think you'd be an awesome owner. We appreciate your work, and I can find you a dog, and you can save him in Baxter's name." And that might have got me to where I just kept coming, and it would have saved a life. That was not his intention. It was for me to head my ass back to Oklahoma. Excuse my language. And so I called my rescue, and I said, and she'd been trying to call, and I asked him, I said, "Please just keep him somewhere where, because I'm going to make some calls." He goes, "I guarantee it's not going to happen. You're not getting, this is my property. You did not finish this adoption."
And
And I said,
again,
"I didn't finish the adoption
just
because," he,
I just want to make sure to be clear. Um, you believe that you were speaking with the director who started this
yes,
month, Corey Steele. You believe that?
yes, yes, I do.
Okay, please
I
continue.
absolutely do, because I know I heard he caught me while I'm driving, but I heard director, and when I heard his voice on YouTube, I mean, I'm almost 100% positive, and that's pretty good. But uh, doesn't know how to talk to people, doesn't understand animal lovers. I don't know what his background is, but I don't know what he's doing in that job. But I they bent their rules, and they changed their euthanasia policy. They changed the 30 days to 15, but you can't bend a rule. And I asked him, I said, "Are you trying to hide something? Was maybe the surgery wasn't done and he got on that euthanasia list by accident? What happened?" And then he got very defensive, and pretty much conversation was over after that. But um, I said, "I'll have a crematory pick him up. I have a lady that will help me take him to there. I won't even look at him. I won't feel if he has four legs or three legs." And I said, it just means a lot to me to finish out this plan and let him rest, show him some love. And he acted like I was the biggest fool that could have ever. I'm probably the only, and I said, I'll finish the adoption process, everything. And I guess I'm the only person in America that was going to maybe adopt a deceased animal. But it meant a lot to me, Paul.
Mm.
And he knew that. And he was not going to budge. And he could have done that. If you're the head honcho, you could have done that. You could have made a call. You could have whatever. I mean, Shannon said maybe the dog had that peanut barber. I don't know what it was,
Peanut
but
butter.
maybe he had that in him. But I was going to have him cremated. I wasn't gonna mount him in my house, But anyway, just refused. I'm hoping somehow that he thought, well, maybe we better preserve him for a while, and maybe he's in their department where they keep maybe some animals that they need to keep,
Mm.
um, in I don't know how to put it, refrigeration, and maybe I still have a chance, but I don't know. I hate to seem, uh, not, I don't know, but the experience was horrible there, and I've gotten so many messages, direct messages from people that were adopting even a puppy. And before they got down there, it was euthanized because they said, well, we decided that the puppy was aggressive. Even though the puppy has a video, he's been up for adoption when they have figured that out before. But Paul, what makes me sick about this whole thing is that this dog laid in that medical part with a broken leg for 20 days. You can zoom in on his little elbow, and the pressure point is just raw. Um, you can see the X-ray of the break, um, and still Baxter was forgiving, and and trying to wag his tail. When people see that video, they'll see what I mean. It'll just break your heart. But for them to just leave him there for 20 days like that, that's animal cruelty right there. That's keeping medical treatment from an animal. I mean, maybe they
Why do you believe, Dave, that they kept him for 20 days without surgery? You have any clue?
I don't know. I kind of the human compassion side of me says, well, maybe they were trying to maybe get him a home. I don't know if the animal cruelty case was still kind of being investigated, and because I don't have the exact. I'm hearing the same story from several people and looking online that there was one started, and maybe that he was kind of evidence, but I have no clue why they didn't. If they would have went ahead, and if that vet said that he uh, did need an amputation, I guarantee you, if they would have amputated, there would have been people from Canada all over coming to get that tripod dog. That would have got him. That would have got him adopted so quickly. So I don't know why. Why did they keep him alive? I don't know.
So you were
And I kind of
you were en route to Houston then on Tuesday morning, early Tuesday
the
morning. Is that right?
17th, yeah, about 5 to 11.
How far did you get?
I got outside Dallas, and I kept pulling over and thinking, so it took me a while, and then talking to people, talking to my rescue, talking to Shannon, trying to figure out.
When did you talk to who you believe to be Corey Steele again? When was that?
It was at 1:41 on
Tuesday.
uh, Tuesday when he called me,
What,
finally called me.
Dave, what do you want out of this? I know you wanted Baxter. What do you want now that, as we believe, Baxter's
I
alive?
want Baxter to be the catalyst for change there. And I want them to look into those animal cruelty laws where you can just surrender an animal that you've neglected, haven't fed, denied medical care, and then you're scot free if you just surrender them because That's pretty dang easy. You didn't want to spend money on them anyway. You didn't care if they were hungry or thirsty or in pain. So it's a pretty win-win situation for the animal cruelty person. So
And
um,
for people who don't
also,
for people who don't know, Harris County and Houston, there's a significant problem with dogs and cats and the number of dogs and cats being surrendered with the strays, everything like that. There's a huge problem there. And where do you think, where do you believe the disconnect is between Harris County and people who want to adopt?
well, the big disconnect, I think, is that they have no public relations, from what I can tell, and they're making it so hard to adopt, also from out of state. There's people from all over the country that would help them out, but also education and maybe a law that well, I know that he was neutered when he left there in 2017, but there, it is a problem, and there's so many pets, like you said, straying the streets in Houston and Harris County, but they need to maybe look into uh, social media, the people that's working for them, and not be so freaking cruel to them and work with them. Oh, so you're working with these. I mean, maybe they should hire a person that you can contact and say, hey, I've got somebody that's talking to this person, and it looks like it might be a good fit. They're out of state. But at first, I was going to have him transported, and he was going to have to leave there to and go to a vet and get a that's a Texas law, I guess, and get some kind of certificate that says he can go over the state line. And then, it was easier for me to go down there. But, um, but that was, before I knew he had a broken leg, I would never had him transported with a fresh amputation and not gone down there. But I don't know the answer to it. I wish I did, but they need to look into, um, other methods than the only answer is euthanasia because they have that to fall back on. So they're not looking into anything else. Well, we're allowed to euthanize as many as we want, 3 days a week, and we can do as we please, and we only have to keep them 15 days if we want.
I mean,
So
and when you log onto social media, there are so many videos, anyone sees all about either Harris County or the shelter in Houston. So many people seem to want to rescue, adopt, foster, but even with all those videos, we're still hearing stories like yours. And obviously, the sad fact is for animal advocates that your story isn't the only story like that.
nope, nope, it's one of too many. And so we're filing for PIRs. I want to know if there was, supposedly this is what my and she called me with a very shaky voice on this, but this is my rescue, and I love that rescue. They work day and night and give up everything they own to save animals. But she called me and she said she was told, and I'm never getting anything from a person. I'm not sure I'd believe him anyway from Harris County, but she said that at 6:30, that is, she said that morning he was given like an examination to make sure he was safe to have that surgery. And I know this is off the subject of what needs to be done, but I just wanted to bring this up because it's hard for me to remember everything at once. But um, so he made it through the surgery, doing good, and then at 6:30, he was panting and he had a low body temperature, and they warmed him up, but he was still panting. So the vet uh, gave the authorization to euthanize him. Was the vet there at 6:30? I don't think so. And who was examining him? And it's quite a process to come out of anesthesia, and it's different for every dog. Um, so
Panting,
we're looking into
panting.
all that. So if they think that we're giving up on that, we're not. We're going to get some answers, and and I'll be the first to apologize to them if it says that. Um, I don't know. I don't know if I even trust them fill out the paperwork right for that day. I don't know. I
They
don't
said
know. I,
they said he was panting after the surgery, and that
he
is
was,
the vet said we're going to have to euthanize him.
yeah, I guess his body temperature had dropped, so they warmed him, but then he was panting. And when I had it all, I mean, I had everything figured out, is that I had an appointment for today at my vet with him. So I had to stop by there for Aries, my other dog, anyway, and pick up a pill for him. And I had to cancel Baxter's appointment. And so when I told the lady, and the vet tech was standing behind him, she said, "Why did they euthanize him for that?" And I said, "I don't have the full records yet, but that's what I was told, that his body temperature had dropped. They warmed him, but then he was really doing some panting. I mean, there was nothing it didn't seem anything life threatening to her. I mean, she was like, why? I don't understand why they euthanized him like that. They were actually very upset. They were rooting for this dog too. We had people all over the country, out of the country. I had people in Africa rooting for this dog, but maybe something did happen. I don't know, but it seems like euthanasia is such a easy thing to just pull out of the hat. And if they had offered, I guess they offered. I never got to hear the conversation, but they offered to pay for that surgery. I think they were tired of. They're not going to put any more money into this dog. And without calling them without calling my rescue, without calling me, they just put him down. And I was told that was not my dog. It was my dog. I vested in him. I loved that dog, and I was doing everything I could to get that dog. So um, it should have been my call. I'll get him to another vet or whatever. But
What was the name
it
of the?
wasn't like he was dying.
Sorry,
They put him down.
sorry.
So
Say that again, Dave.
it wasn't like he was dying. They put him down.
Who is the rescue, Dave?
No, I really can't say because they're afraid of retaliation from them.
And that's where I want to go with the conversation. That you know, we know that essentially Houston is ground zero. Houston and Harris County is ground zero for the number of dogs and cats, the sheer number of dogs and cats who are surrendered, strayed, and then taken to these shelters. The question is, though, there seems to be warring factions, if you will, with different rescue groups and tick
There
tit
is.
for tat, tit for tat, and then
Yeah.
there's shelter, and it's just like I'm not understanding why can everyone not work together? Because it's about the animal, isn't it? Not about who does this group, who's on this group, who's the director. I thought it was about who the animal is. That's just
That's the problem. That's it. And because Bark actually will not let this group pull from there anymore. So many animals, and they're a big group, and they say many animals, and there's many animals losing their lives needlessly um, because of that.
yeah, because
And
and it's just me hearing, speculation because I wasn't there. I've not been to Harris County or Bark, but there's speculation that some people from some of these rescue groups don't necessarily do what they say they're going to do, and the dog will end up over the Rainbow Bridge, if you will. But
yeah,
still, even with that,
yeah, I know. I'm sure they've come across people that didn't follow through with the fostering, that didn't follow through with the adoption, and people are, they'll only let you down. But I don't know. I wish there would be. I fostered in '06, oh, I'm sorry, '04, '05, and '06 for Oklahoma City Animal Shelter, and it's you have to give up some of your life, and people don't want to do that. And if they would foster for these, because these rescues, they can't do it on their own. It takes a foster. But if people are sick of this place, well, let's do something. Foster, volunteer, do whatever you can. But nobody wants to even be around the people. They're a bunch of burnouts, and um, nobody wants to be around them. They need to get like-minded people in there. I mean, if you're an animal shelter should be ran by an animal lover, and the people that work there should all, and I'm sure there's some great people there. Just that I haven't met them, but I'm sure they're there. But they're going to be like-minded people. But we're in a new age now with this social media, and there's a lot of dogs. Social media really basically was trying to save him because so many people were broadcasting him. I was broadcasting him, and that's it kind of, with me finding a video that somebody put on, I was in love. I was like, I can help that dog. So social media really was saving him. So if they would understand that and start working that more, but I never see anything from them or any SOSs or anything because they will not release the group that they've picked to euthanize. This rescue dog army that does such a wonderful job of saving these dogs, they have no clue. They can just kind of guess who might be who's over the 15 days, and there's no rhyme or reason. No rhyme or reason. And if they would do that, that'd be some cooperation,
Yeah,
and that would show. Mhm.
Rescue Dog Army, just from what I hear, they tend to have I don't know, I don't know how to say it. There tends to be some kind of, I don't know, butting heads, like I said before, with that group. I'm not sure why. I don't understand.
With Harris County,
Well, I've been
with Harris
told that
County.
there are issues with dogs. People say, "Oh, there were dogs that have gone missing with that group." But even so, I mean, again, getting back to the point, if you're not in it for the animal, and this is from the journalist and the animal advocate in me, if you're not in it for the animal, put away the human agenda and focus on the animal. Maybe that's just too simplistic.
Yeah, exactly. And and like I said, this gentleman, if it, I'm pretty sure it was Corey Still, is either somebody he had called me or it was him, but he could have saved it big time. He could have saved an animal that day because I was right. I was very close, and they were pretty much. And if I think he did say it, just turn around because you're not getting this dog's remains. So, and he could have really pulled on my heartstring, and then I went down and maybe got another senior dog off their list. So there's no, he doesn't care.
I put an email into him yesterday. Found his email. It's public record. And he did get back to me right away. And then he said, "I'm going to have my communications department get in touch with you." So he got back with me right away. And then the communications department got back with me right away. And I said, "You know what? I want to open a dialogue with you. I want to open a dialogue and let's get the conversation started because there's so much bad news, bad press, bad publicity, bad whatever as far as Harris County Shelter is Animal Services is concerned. So why don't we open a conversation? And this way we can hopeful in the hopes of moving forward and getting better and getting more of the animals out of there with responsible fosters or responsible adopters. And so we don't have to hear stories like this and countless other stories we've heard and countless other stories that we're probably going to hear. Why not open a dialogue? So that's my hope out of all this is that we can, start talking. The conversation needs to be had.
They act like the public's their enemy, and they're just in their way of their daily 9 to 5. I don't know. It's sad, and I still have several of their animals on my page that I'm concerned on and still blasting out there. And you know, I don't know. I think that there's something missing that we can think of that we can really work. Well, we got I'll get the initials wrong. Animal social media takeover. Is that
Yep,
what it is?
ASMP.
So that's coming up on the 11th. You and Shannon are going to do your podcast. I think education is a big part of this too.
Yeah.
So, and building a relationship with these shelters, and knowing that we're not their enemy. I mean, I didn't know them out of the blue, and I was trying to help them out, trying to save the animals. So,
That's what
um,
that's what I said. That's why I tried to open up. That's why I'm trying to open up a conversation. So, we know it all starts
good.
with the spay and neuter, and then we talk about the people who essentially down in Texas, there are a lot of people. I've lived there myself many times, so I know what it's like personally. It's sad. The state of affairs for dogs in Texas as a whole is sad.
Especially when you can get them spayed and neutered for free, basically, and you can. Um, they don't. If they saw an animal heading into the euthanasia room wagging its tail, I don't know, but I think a lot of people are selling animals, aren't animal lovers themselves. I think it's money. Comes down to the green-eyed monster, and it is horrible. And this isn't the '70s. There were some horrible things that went on in the '70s. We have social media now, and I just feel like that's a huge answer. And so
What do you
somehow, some way, but I
what do
think they need to network with people around the country because here I am 7 hours away, and I tried, and I tried so many times, and it's hard to want to be their advocate when they're so rude to you, you know.
now that what do you want so that
I
Baxter
want everybody
I'm
to start crying again, but I want everybody to remember that these animals they teach us to forgive, they teach us faithfulness, and I want them to respect. And this animal was a cruelty case, and I just want them to know. It's great that they know Baxter's story, and I hope you can show his picture in his video. You'll see forgiveness in that video. And I want them, though, to understand that people are very concerned about they they're concerned about those 3 days a week euthanasia, and they're also concerned about moving from 13 to 15 days. 15 days went by pretty dang quick, um, especially during the holidays. I think it needs to be extended out, but mainly just understand animal people and all sorts of the people, and then work on the animals, because without the animal people, they can't function.
and we'll have more tragedies, if you will, like we had with Baxter.
It's a tragedy, and I'm afraid of what I'm going to find out. But we have filed for those records, and um, I'm anxious to get them. And but that's the only closure I'll get. I wasn't allowed to get his remains. I I asked to pay for those. I asked to go ahead with the adoption. I said, it's a win-win for you, and a crematory, even a funeral home will cremate a dog a lot of times. But I said, I'll have someone, a third party, pick him up, you know? Um, and he was hateful with that idea. And it meant a lot to me. I told him it would really mean a lot to me. And so that, you know, I think a rule could have been broken in this. I really do. And I put out a plea to the public. Do you know a councilman? Do you know anybody that can? Because that's why I told him. I said, can you please just preserve him for right now? And he goes, there's no need to, because this is not going to happen. And it was just so frustrating. All I'm begging for is the dog's remains.
You
Dog
want
that was abused. A dog that was abused and not loved. And I was ready to give him. I'm interactive with my dogs. We go everywhere. And it would have been a life that he never saw before. And I've had a pointer before, and they're great dogs, and I'm just sick about it. I just You're helping me by venting, but I want to be able to help the situation also. So a lot of the people are are DMing me, and man, I appreciate their thoughts. They've got me through this because I was physically sick from it, and they were like, and I have some non-dog animal lover friends that are sort of friends, but they were like, I can't believe you're that upset. I mean, now you don't have to worry about taking care of it. I was like, are you kidding me?
Mm.
That
Doing,
would have been, that makes you feel so good inside to take care of an animal that's been abused and change its life totally. They change your life. And so yes, I am an animal lover, and I was felt like I was talking to the the anti side of that with these people, but they need to get some operators that can actually help people and talk to them respectfully. I know I'm older than this man. I know I was older than the women, but that I was talking to, but learn to respect your elders and again, animal lovers or their clientele.
mm.
I could I could tell 15 people, and they would probably want to adopt from them. And with my experience, they don't want to adopt there, and people are starting to tell more and more of their experience. I've had some horrible stories sent to me about this place, and um,
It
so
sounds,
they need to
it
look
sounds like,
inside and know that they have they have room to change. I think they think because the politicians that's over them are not animal lovers, they're protected and they can do anything they want and they can tell you anything they want. But that needs to be not so. So Houston or Harris County needs to stand up. I've got a lot of Houston people that DM me and they're ashamed of them.
so you guys,
They need to know.
so
Go
your
ahead.
story, so your story with Baxter resonated with a lot of people, and you're saying that online people sent you their own horrific stories,
Yes.
their involvement of what happened with them and Harris County Animal Services.
Yes, and I'm gonna go through, and I've been messaging people that I'm going to chronicleize everything and keep it, and I'm gonna turn it out over. Uh, so, and I've got on their reviews. Somebody told me, well, they got 4.0. Well, I looked through those, and there's so many that there's a lot of ones in there, and there's a lot of the 5 points, or it looks like maybe city employees don't even write anything.
Yeah.
And it says TripAdvisor or something on it. There's got a gob of them, and but there's a lot of people that their dogs were euthanized before they got down there. So that's what scares me about Baxter.
Mm.
I think that was just an easy way out. All they had to do, I would have gladly had him transported to another vet or something. I blame myself. I should have never ever let them operate on him. But I had a lady that said that hers died while being spayed. So from them. So I don't know. I'm just sick about it. I'm trying to think of change. I want him to be the catalyst for some kind of change. That's all. And I don't know what I mean, I know what needs to change, absolutely, but how that can happen with Baxter, I don't know. But he's just one, and he can be the face. I don't know what the other faces look like, but I preserved his pictures. His videos are starting to disappear off of Facebook, and but you'll be able to see that I sent you two. One's a little bit longer than the other. It's all I got of him. That's all the only treasure I have, and I think he would have worked out perfect in my family. And it's just sickening. So
But let's hope we can move on and maybe start that dialogue and get justice for Baxter and
if
find.
there's any wrongdoing, I guarantee you, I will not give up. And they haven't met Shannon yet, and they're gonna find out
Mm,
because she, Shannon.
mm,
There's still terrible, terrible things going on in Denton shelter. A horrible story that you're going to hear about. You probably know about it, but she's going to let it out. And I was up till 2:45 on a live with her last night, and when I heard it, I don't even think I slept. It was a horrendous story about a min pin,
mm.
and just wait till you hear it. it is sad to hear these stories, but people need to listen to them, and then see, look inside and say, how can I help change this? But people like the person that called me, they need to listen to people and say, I don't know if they have any kind of group that comes in, maybe a bunch of animal lovers, and maybe they have a night where they give them suggestions, not screaming at them and all that, but give them suggestions. I asked people to call down there and see if he would like to know how he can improve. He's new there. I mean, I guess he worked there and he worked his way up, what it looks like.
Yeah, worked his way up the ladder to the position he now.
So why not make it a stellar place? But Paul, you're right. There's too many strays out there and they're overwhelmed. And I do give them that. But when they see people helping, hey, people are starting to help. People are people are blasting our animals online. There's a lot of wealthy people in California, Florida, up in the East Coast. They'll they'll send transports down. They'll do anything for these
That's what we
animals.
do up here. That's what we do. It's a whole different story. We see a stray dog out on the street, the whole neighborhood goes berserk, and then there's pictures online, and 30 minutes later, that dog is safe and sound inside the house.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's just great. I need to move up there. But
Well, listen. Yeah, go ahead.
I just think that the abuse that he went through, I want to see something change on that too. I want to see that case reopened. That's a fresh case. And what I was hoping for, Paul, was I got him not as not his remains, but him as a live dog, and I get my vet to scan him because he was going to have the chip. Says I'm an older person I'm responsible, and I asked him. I said, "Can your chip be in him in case, say, I might walk on my dog and I keel over and somebody gets him and they can call you up." But anyway, I want his chip. The person's chip was in him, and I really wanted that scan to get that name and look it up. But I don't know if I think we can get those records. I don't know. We're going to try to do everything we can to get justice in every way for him. So, and there's so many horrible stories down there of abuse and things, but sounds like they do a lot of leg amputations because they said it's a very um, an operation they do quite a bit of, so they're very good at it. So I don't know. It's
Well,
sad.
you know what, Dave? And I'm sorry for what happened. But at the same time, that's why I made the call. And it's just me. So I made the call. He reached back out right away, and then his communications team did, and we'll see what happens. There's always the hope. They say the closed mouth doesn't get fed. So I opened my mouth.
Right. Yeah.
Some people have said, well, what are you thinking about? You don't live down here. You don't know what the situation is like down here. Don't know about this rescue group. You don't know about this rescue group. You know what? I don't need to know any of that. I know that a
Right.
fresh, clean slate can be created. And then with the lines of
True.
communications open, not only between, the lines of communication open between the shelter and its staff and the